I don't think I realized it was a problem for me, but I noticed when I was burnt out, I would hit plateaus, like with my
Ooh.
playing. So like I would, you know, I'd be able to play up to a certain skill level and then, you know, just not really play anything else, and then I'd be repetitively playing stuff that I had learned when I first started playing, like, I've been playing at that point like maybe 10 years, and it's like, why are you still playing AC/DC Back in Black? Like, it's not doing anything for my playing.
It's true. I mean, that actually is honestly a very good point. I believe I've brought it up on other like solo episodes. Was like the feeling of plateauing is it's like it's almost helpless. But I think you've actually like just explained the basic of it all. Is like you almost just have to go just learn something new,
Yeah.
regardless of what, like almost regardless of what it is. Irregardless isn't a word, I don't think. Anyways, regardless of what it is, it like doesn't matter. You can just learn something new because you can't just sit there and play ACDC Back in Black for the
Yeah.
4,000th time, and it's not going to help. It's not going to help you at all. You know?
Yeah. And I think another thing that helped me not get burnt out so much was like changing genres and skipping around and learning different, jazz or country or blues or whatever. And before I was just strictly playing metal. That was it.
Yep.
And I was one of those young, dumb kids that was like, oh, if it's not metal, I don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
Yeah. I'm very guilty of that, and it's man, that's a tough one. That's a tough cross to bear, and I feel like some of us that had that mindset growing up actually turn into some of the most well-rounded musicians. Because like what it is like when we are guitarists that enjoy metal, I think what it is, at least for me, was like these people are the most skilled musicians out there. They're the most technical. They can play the most notes, most beats per minute. They're going crazy. They're playing scales and arpeggios and tapping and like the best.
Yeah.
Until you try to emulate bluegrass, and you're like, oh, this is hard.
You mean there's no distortion to cover anything up?
Exactly. I'm glad you're gonna say it because I almost didn't want to. I was always just like try to be fancy about it, like there's not enough compression on this clean channel, like instead of just trying to be like I need distortion to cover my mistakes. Thank you, not
Yeah.
to say I'm making mistakes, but 100%. Like once you start going genre to genre to genre, you start to build the appreciation for it as a musician because that was what you built it all over. Like this is the best because they play the instrument the best, and then you're like, this is actually tough. All the way down to playing blues when you're like, oh, this isn't actually that many notes. You have to play with emotion instead. And you're like, that's not even, and then you have to like learn how to do that and how to
Yeah.
bend a note. And you're like, bending a note. Like,
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy, when I took lessons from Jeremy for, I think it might have been a year, we were learning a Black Dahlia Murder song, and it was in like C standard tuning or something like that. And I went into the practice room at Reeman's, and we had this little combo amp in there that we both plugged into, and we're like playing the CD and trying to learn it by ear, and then figuring out the parts because there's two harmonized guitar parts, and we were playing on clean, and I was so uncomfortable playing on clean in front of anybody because I was like, you crank up the distortion and play fast. You don't really have to hit all the notes.